What's up, fellow and future adventurers? Welcome back to Caveman Gaming. Thank you for tuning into this episode of how to prepare for a one-shot for cons. Today I'm going to be going over how I prepare a simple one-shot that I would run multiple times throughout multiple days of conventions. Something I've done for quite a few years now. I have a little bit of practice at it, so I thought I'd take you through my step-by-step process of how I go about creating these things from scratch. So the very first thing I'm going to do is kind of take note of what we're working with. We create our own pre-generated characters to provide players at these cons, so we know we are working with level 3 characters, so I'm going to try and create a level 3 one-shot. I know I have a 2-hour time frame, so I want to keep things short and sweet, but also I want to make sure I have enough content in there that I can cut stuff out if I need to, if we're getting close on time, or if we burn through everything really quick, I have stuff I can throw in and add in to kind of hit that 2-hour mark. So with those confines in mind, I want to try and find a nice big bad that's gonna something that's gonna be threatening and fun. And so the very first thing I do when I'm creating these one shots, we jump to our books. You're gonna take the monster manual, flip through it, try and find something in that CR 4, 5, 6 can be a little tough. But the idea is to find an enemy that sounds interesting to run. Some of the ones I've done in the past are a fire elemental within a volcano, which was very fun, worked out very well. We obviously did the Sahagin Baron in the Sea Devil's Sacrifice. He's a CR5 creature, but was obviously very, very deadly. So I already kind of went through the monster manual, started flipping through. We had a few that kind of jumped out to me. So in the CR5, there's lots of options here. I kind of played with the idea of maybe an earth elemental, an air elemental, beholder zombie, a troll. I had even considered a half dragon or a hill giant, a gorgon, gladiator. Brings me to my next step in deciding what I want to run. I have a lot of options here, but I also want to make sure I have the mini available for what I'm going to run. Things like a Mesoloth were out. I don't have a troll mini. So that kind of eliminated some of my options. Next step was I wanted to eliminate some of the elementals because I've ran elementals before. Hill giants just felt too common. I didn't kind of come up with anything exciting in my mind right away. And some of these monster manuals, these books, they have these great little creatures by area, habitat, CR level. A book like this is great. Villains, their tactics, kind of gives you minions that would work with some of your villains. They're already fleshed out. They have goals that they have in mind. They really help ignite the imagination when you're trying to come up with these one shots. This is something I use in kind of my regular campaigns, even for like mini bosses, mini arcs and series. But for this event, this one I have coming up for the SaskatoonEX, I went kind of back to Monsters of the Multiverse, and I landed on Master Thief. I probably shouldn't show too much of this, but Master Thief worked for me because my most recent one-shot that I did for PopCon earlier in the year was a coastal setting. I've done desert settings, I've done crypt settings, so I didn't want to use undead, I didn't want to use water creatures, and I haven't done an urban environment setting in a while, so that's kind of why I settled on it. And with that, a master thief is really just a human, right? So it's pretty easy to go to your treasure trove of minis and just kind of find one that might match the description of a thief. How about that guy? He could work. A few little options. But the idea is to make sure you have something that's going to look good on the table as well. Because not only are you introducing new players to the game of D&D, you want them to kind of be excited by it, have fun, enjoy what they're doing. Down here, little roguelike guy. I apologize for the sun in the background. I am recording very early in the morning, something I don't usually do. But I'm trying to get these done. And I don't have a way to block that sun coming through my window in the background. So I apologize for that. But anyway, so with having my big bad decided upon, the ideas start flooding in instantly. How to utilize this creature. That's something we'll have to put into paper later, but I kind of thinking about how to use a master thief in a 2-hour one-shot. I came up with the idea of this group of nobles who have recently been the victims of a string of thefts, some of their more prized possessions being stolen, and another group of nobles who are afraid that they're the next targets. So these new potential targets call upon the party to help investigate these thefts, see if they can find any clues that might lead them to who this master thief is, and how to stop them. The unique thing I'm going to incorporate into this adventure is that they're going to meet the master thief pretty much right at the start. One of the nobles that's worried for his vault, his prized possessions, is the master thief who's kind of come out of retirement out of boredom. So the scenario I have in mind, just like, to be clear, this all comes from simply picking a character. The ideas just start flowing, and you kind of scrap some, keep thinking about it over the weeks. I've been thinking about this now for about a week, and the ideas just keep kind of building upon each other or sloughing off, and eventually once I get it down in writing, it'll be solid. They meet the master thief. He's part of these nobles who's worried for their belongings. These nobles call upon the party because they don't trust the guards, the city militia, because they're a little corrupt or whatever. So they call upon a third party, the group, to help investigate. And this master thief is actually kind of treating it as a test of his own skills. He's bored. He's kind of semi-retired, coming out of retirement to just see if he's still got it. So the idea is they have this little meeting. As the nobles ask the party to go out and start investigating, this gentleman who has invited him already to his home is going to say something like, "It's been fun." And when they go to investigate the most recent robbery, they will find his calling card, which is just a little note that's written in unique stylized calligraphy that says, "It's been fun." Hopefully that's clue enough for them for the party to go, "Holy crap, it's that guy we just met." We kind of got the information of where his house is. We know where he's going to be. So then they're going to go to his mansion. As soon as they walk into his mansion, magic mouth spell goes off, kind of gloats of his his deeds, challenges the party to try and find him within his own mansion. I'm going to build a little structure. Should have a few rooms. Within some of the rooms, there's going to be puzzles for them to solve. Some of the rooms will have enemies for them to fight, and eventually what they're trying to accomplish is to get into this Master Thief's vault to challenge him, hopefully arrest him once and for all. So there's the scenario. From here, the next step is to build our encounter. So the way I start doing that is I'm going to make just a little sketch on kind of what I imagine this mansion to be. So I kind of drew up a little diagram here. Big octagon thing up at the top is going to be the vault. We've got a couple rooms on each side here. Some of them listed maybe mobs or mold. Got a riddle up in here. We've got a key puzzle in here. Key puzzle is something like this. It's just a little puzzles, like brain teasers. Something I can just plop down on the table. The player can actually fiddle with, see if they can get this thing apart. If they can get the two keys apart, then they have two keys that might open up the vault. Throughout there, I also have different traps. If they try and open the vault without solving all of the puzzles and the riddles, a large spike trap will try and prevent them from attempting it again. I'll have a little pit trap in one of the hallways. There's going to be a statue at the other end of the hallway that I either will drop a boulder on them or spray out some gas. So from here, I have a little layout of what I think the mansions will look like. And so from there, we're going to jump over to my little, I don't want to call it a studio, a little workspace, aka my kitchen table, where we will attempt to build this today. We'll see how it looks. I'm going to time lapse it to try and make it nice and quick. Alright. Let's see how this works. Hope my camera angle's okay. Here at my kitchen table. I have a little workspace. Yes, it is a mess because I use it. Okay? If your workspace isn't a mess, it's because you're not using it. Use your stuff. Make it a mess. Alright, let's get into it. Kind of cheating here a little bit. I have this left over from one of my last builds that I made. This was something I used for a session in my home game. So it's kind of already half set up, half built. I'm going to flip stuff around and just try and do a quick time lapse of putting this mansion together. I have my little blueprint here that I drew up with the kind of layout that I'm going for, and we'll see what we can kind of come up with and create. So because I'm going to do this in a time lapse, try and make it kind of quick in building. Probably won't be talking too much during this video. But I'll kind of stop and point out some of the key things that might come up. What I'm using here are a system called Warlock tiles, modular tiles. Something I've been using for quite some time. I have quite a few of the sets, so it allows me to kind of create and build a lot of cool things. So let's get into it.
Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Music licensing reimagined.
Armor stand statue.
Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined.
Huzzah! Ta-da! There we have it. About an hour 15 for me to fully flesh out exactly what I drew out here. We've got our vault where the final fight is going to happen. We've got 6 rooms that we've got to explore to try and solve puzzles, fight enemies, face traps, etc. This turned out amazing, actually. I really like the way it's shaped. It fits perfectly on my board. It's not exactly as I drew up here, but it's pretty good. Next step, obviously, we want to spice this up a bit. You're not going to walk into a mansion that is bare. There's going to be furniture, there's going to be things, so we are going to look into our trove of scatter terrain and try and spice it up, make it look lived in. Let's get to it, shall we?
Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined.
There we go. Final touches. The build is complete. Let's have a closer look, shall we? Ignore my messy kitchen. Let's just get on me and right. We have the vault room. Bunch of treasury type stuff. Maybe this is the vault where he actually keeps the things he was looking to steal. More loot, barrels, crates, chests, gilded cage, some pillars holding up the place. And over here, spare bedroom. Maybe I think that's where we'll have a riddle of some kind. I gotta come up with one. Statue trap down into the hallway. Maybe a barrel or something comes rolling, or a boulder, its head rolls off and starts rolling down, or releases some sort of gas. The throne room, literally throne, wash closet, sink type deal. Gonna have a couple of stinky kobolds or something hanging out in there. Master bedroom. We got a bed, we've got a fireplace, we've got the bear rug that's actually going to be some sort of dangerous mold. table. This one was cool. A little training room. His secret room. Well, not really a secret, but clearly where he trains to try and pick different locks on different chests, his archery skills, picking locks on doors, and a table and a bench where some of his trainees are going to be sitting in wait to attack the party if they enter there. Just a little bar area. I think this is where we're going to have the little key puzzle. Putting this in, I had a little idea of maybe the players need to have a little contest of finishing off a keg before they find the key puzzle. See if one of them gets drunk. A little bit of poison action. Saving throw kind of contest. Thought would be cool. This room up here, kind of a spare room that maybe some of the things he stole were like magical books that he thought he could practice trying to use summoning circles, and was not very good at it, so he's kind of given up. He's kind of stored all those magical, like, wizard books, nerdy things in there with this summoning circle that he drew. But the whole room's just covered in dust, and maybe mobs are hiding there as well. We'll see. But yeah, there's the build. Didn't take too long, and we are practically done with our step-by-step how to build a one-shot. One more thing here. This will be on my sideline, a little spike trap that'll be off in the hallway. Watch out, players. Alright, so I've already recorded this once before, but I totally forgot to unmute my mic. So that's okay, because hopefully I can simplify this down, go over it with you. Kind of final step of the preparations of this one-shot. Take notes. Write down what you're going to do. So here you can see my Word document, the notes that I'm going to have. I'd like to give a little synopsis at the start, or kind of setting the scene for the characters as we get into things. So this is my notes for when we all sit down at the table. This is what I'm first going to say out loud to the players to get them into the scene. So let's get into it, shall we? It says, the group of you are standing in a beautiful garden veranda, meeting with a group of nobles collectively known as the Gem Dragons. They are well-known merchants who specialize in rare gemstones. Each noble is known to sell exclusively one color of gemstone, but has a variety of stock ranging from raw gems to masterfully cut and polished gems, all ranging in various sizes and shapes. They are regarded as the best in the world for providing necessary gems needed for certain spells, as well as giving the best prices when purchasing gems from sellers. They sit in front of you, drinking wine, eating fresh fruit, which has also been provided for you at this meeting. The 6 nobles are known as Helena Drystock, David Everson, Amber Bloomington, Anders Plinth, Hameth Stonebright, and your host, Hans Mikkelsen. Hans is a tall and thin man who holds himself well, very fit for his age, which you would guess to be around his middle 50s, based on the gray hairs that pepper the temples of his black, back-combed hairstyle. He raises a glass towards your group and addresses you. "Thank you for meeting with us, adventurers. Would you be so kind as to introduce yourselves?" At this point, I would have the players introduce both their name and their character's name. I take those notes down so I can keep track of them throughout the game. Kind of see if I can get a little description, get them thinking about who they're playing. Once the introductions are done, Hans would then continue and say, "It is my pleasure to host you here in my garden outside of my lovely manor. However, the reason for our meeting is a bit of an unpleasant one. You see, recently there has been a string of thefts that have occurred over the last few nights. We believe this thief is exclusively targeting us, the Gem Dragons. David was hit first 4 nights ago, and then Amber 3 nights ago, then Helena 2 nights ago, and last, Hameth was our latest victim last night. This thief has been targeting our personal vaults and stealing only one thing. They leave behind gems worth thousands and take one thing that binds us as a group, an item of symbolism that connects the Gem Dragons. You see, each of us possesses a statuette of a dragon carved from the precious gemstone that reflects the color of the gems we sell. The local authorities have been unsuccessful in finding any useful information or thwarting any of the future robberies that have been occurring each consecutive night. As we get down to only 2 members left who have not been robbed, we grow desperate, and so we ask for your aid outside of the confines of bureaucracy and the corruption of the local government. Somebody we might be able to rely on, who's motivated more by money rather than numbers. A little bit of improv there, going off my sheet already. No doubt, one of myself or Anders is to be the target tonight. See if you can't speak with the captain of the guard, Bevan. He is waiting for you just outside the gate, to see if you can ascertain any clues as to who is next. Hopefully, with that information, you will be able to return to either my estate here or to Anders' mansion and stand guard against the burglar. Ideally, we would like to see him arrested and brought to justice and have our items returned, but if he chooses to go down swinging, then swift justice of the guilty is also acceptable. Please ask any questions you may have, but try not to waste any time. The afternoon is nearly finished. So at this point, the party would have a chance to kind of ask questions, maybe introduce some more of these nobles, kind of give descriptions of them so that Hans doesn't stick out quite as much with his singular description there. Like Hommeth Stonebright, obviously a dwarf with that name. Helena Drystock, probably some sort of elf. David Everson, maybe a half-elf. Amber Bloomington, human noble of long time standing, gorgeous, long blonde platinum hair or something. Mix it up, try and make it unique. But eventually, as Hans departs back to his mansion, he dismisses the group with a mockery and says, "Well, it's been fun." What I didn't include in my notes here is that once the party goes and talks to the captain of the guard, Bevan, I'm going to kind of give the party the clue right away. The guards have indeed found a clue. They haven't made heads or tails of it as of yet. A bit of a calling card left where each dragon statuette has been stolen from. A simple piece of paper with a few words written on it in stylized calligraphy that just says, "It's been fun." And with this being the last thing Hans said, hopefully that kind of clues them in right away into thinking that's our guy. And from there, they either will think he's going to be held up in his mansion, like we're onto him, he knows, and he's going to go hide himself, or they're going to think he's going to go and assault Anders' mansion, in which case either scenario doesn't really matter. We're going to the same mansion, whether we call it Anders' mansion or Hans's mansion. Hans will have had time to kind of set those traps up within Anders' mansion, get inside of his vault, and is prepared for the party to meet them. Scrolling down here, I've kind of detailed everything that's within each room. So kind of starting right where we first enter into the entranceway, where the magic mouth trap is going to go off. I didn't include it in my notes here, but the magic mouth spell goes off, kind of Hans' voice echoing through the mansion, telling the players, "So you figured it out, you know who I am." A bit of a master thief come out of retirement as the gem selling business has grown quite stale. Wanted to test his skills, see if he still had it, see if the party has what it takes to bring him down. He's looking for a little bit of fun. So in the hallway we have the fire casting statue. I should iterate here that I went to the DMG, looked up environments, hazards, traps, to get exactly kind of nuisance and deadly traps for level 3s. I saw that there's a fire casting statue, and I thought that was perfect for a statue. So essentially what happens is you step on a pressure plate, DC 15 dex save to try and avoid half damage of 2d10 fire as it erupts into a 15-foot cone ahead of them. This trap can be detected with a detect magic spell, which reveals that it gives off an aura of evocation. Once that is figured out, a DC 10 perception check from anybody within 5 feet would be able to see the tiny magical glyphs upon the statue. Once the glyphs are found, an arcana check reveals that this glyph means fire, or an action can be taken with a sharp tool to deface the glyphs, rendering it inert. Secondly, a search action can reveal the pressure plate in front of the statue with a DC of 15, and obviously wedging a spike or something underneath the plate would prevent it from activating. Similar thing with the spike trap in the opposite hallway. Perception check to spot the lid of the spike trap. Wedging something underneath it would prevent it from opening. If a character does fall in, they're going to take 1d6 bludgeoning falling damage, 1d6 piercing damage as they fall into some wooden spikes. But escaping the pit is going to require a climb speed, climbing gear, or magic such as spider climb to escape the smooth walls. Something on that a little bit later. But over in the master bedroom, I'm going to put this right on that bear rug that they might walk across, describe it as kind of having this yellow sheen. There's going to be a 5-foot square of yellow mold. If this carpet is walked upon or touched, the mold ejects a cloud in a 10-foot cube, DC 15 con save, or take 2d10 poison damage and have the poison condition for 1 minute. During that poison condition, at the end of every round, so every 6 seconds, that the exposed characters are going to take 1d10 poison damage, after which, at the end of their turn, they can make a new save against the poison condition to end it. However, if they notice something's wrong with the bear and expose it to fire or direct sunlight, obviously the yellow mold is rendered inert. On the other side of the building in the training room, I'm just going to have 3 enemies stacked up in there. They are now called Tough in the new monster manual. A little bit harder than bandits, a little sturdier, have a little bit more HP. In the throne room, I'm going to put a goblin bandit captain who's sitting on the throne, kind of adjusting his belt as the characters walk in. He'll attack on sight. In the bar room is where we have our physical key puzzle, this lovely item right here. I decided to put the keys in the bottom of a mug of stale ale. They can either pour the ale out or drink it. If they drink it, there's going to be a con save of like 12 to resist being poisoned for a minute. Yeah, hand them that physical puzzle. Then they will need to get it apart to get 2 of the keys. In the spare bedroom is where I put the riddle. Here's the riddle I came up with. It's not necessarily a riddle, but a bit of a puzzle. There's a mirror in the room, and when looking into the mirror, the characters will see a large purple gemstone leaning against the wall behind them. But there's no such gemstone in the actual room. This gemstone is going to be found in the master bedroom, where the yellow mold is. And when they bring that purple gemstone to the place in the spare bedroom to match the room in the mirror will pop open with a secret drawer exposing the 3rd key needed for the vault. Within the summoning room, I decided to put a few resources in there rather than enemies. They can find 3 potions of healing, a climbing kit if they need it to get out of that pit trap, as well as a couple spell scrolls such as find traps and magic missile, something that'll help the party against a master thief's evasion, and something to help avoid his traps. I just realized one thing I forgot to include in here is the spike trap for if they fiddle with the vault door before collecting the keys. So I'll just add that in. Vault door trap. Spikes. DC, we'll call it 13. Dex save. Be a 1d12 slashing damage or half on success. Simple as that. Done. So that's it. There we go. We have our notes. So let's try and wrap this up a little bit. going back to the start of the video, step-by-step thing. First thing we're going to look at is the confines of our session. We know we wanted level 3 content. We know we had 2 hours to run. So with that in mind, we went to our monster manual or other books that might have enemies that would be unique and interesting. Found something that's going to work for against a level 3 party. Again, I went with the Master Thief, which is a CR5 creature. It's okay to bump things up because obviously we're trying to expend resources through traps, through other fights. And with a single CR5 creature against a party of five level 3 adventurers, the action economy is going to overtake that level 5 creature just about every time. So yeah, find a unique enemy, and from there, let the ideas flow. Try and think of unique situations, something that's going to be interesting and compelling. Obviously, a mansion with a Master Thief testing themselves, I thought it was a great idea. Single building, a couple puzzles, couple traps, 1 or 2 little minor fights before getting to the big bad. The whole idea is to have the investigation take about an hour, big bad fight take 45 minutes to an hour. Kind of play it by ear from there. So step 3, after getting your big bad figured out, build your terrain. Sketch it out, draw it out, however you do your terrain, whatever you present to the group. If you're just drawing it on playmat, get that all figured out. Make it unique, make it beautiful, spice it up, throw in some stuff. As you're doing that, you're going to get more ideas of how to, you put in unique traps or unique situations, unique items. So after building my terrain, I came back here, I sat down and started to flesh things out. I described what's in each room. I got the stats and the mechanics for the traps, for the riddle, and then I went and wrote out my adventure startup, the overview, and that's it. Normally I would do a lot less. I wouldn't bother taking notes. I already have an idea of what I'm putting in each room, so I would kind of skip this part. I'd write out the stuff I want to say at the beginning, and that's about it. But I wanted to showcase this for you guys, that it's good to kind of have something set in stone, something you can reference when you need to. That's it. We're done. We have a one-shot. We're ready to run it. I'm probably going to run this a handful of times throughout the event. Again, it's a week long. I'm going to be there for at least 5 of the 7 days, 6 of the 8, whatever it is. And I really hope the people who sit down and play really enjoy this. I hope if you were one of the people who came and watched or came and played, let me know what you thought. Let me know if you would have done anything different, if things you would have changed, if this instilled any ideas for you for your own campaigns. I would love to hear from any of you, whether you played or not. Let me know what you change, what you would do differently. If you think this would be fun to play in, if you think it'd be fun to run, I would love to hear from you. And hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully this process showcasing gave you some insight, gave you some knowledge on kind of streamlining things for yourself. So until next time, future adventurers, do you have what it takes? Cheers. All right, Editor Eric here, jumping in with some post-convention updates. Overall, things were successful. It was a lot of fun. We were there for about 5 days. We only ran 5 games. Pretty slow for us. We're used to running about 2 or 3 games a day. But this is not our typical audience. Like I said, it was the first time here at this convention. Really quick, I'm going to shout out Dragon's Den Games, who we are sponsored by, and we were running alongside a group called ToonCon, who is mostly focused on board games. As you can see, we're kind of tucked away in the back of this hall here, out of sight from a lot of people. I think it was difficult for people to come find us, but those who were interested did show up. Here we have Bruce running a game of Daggerheart for some of the members of the DMU. It was very exciting to have different types of RPGs available at the event here. I wanted to touch base a little bit on the one shot that I ran. I had a couple hiccups. I forgot to bring the key puzzle that I was going to drop on the table for the party to find, or to solve rather, to have the 2 keys to get into the vault. So you do what any good DM does and improvise on the fly. Decided to have one of the keys tucked away in one of the kegs in that bar room. They had to drink the beer to get the key. The other key tucked up in the fireplace in the master bedroom. They had to create a little fire to burn away a hidden section of the fireplace, find that 3rd key. Turned out very well in the end. Here we have Eric's setup for his one-shot. He had a couple gentlemen play with him on the 2nd or 3rd day. Sounded like it went really well for him. In regards to my one-shot, the 4 gentlemen that I had sit down were 3 kids, probably 10 and 12, with 1 parent. It went off the rails instantly. It just got into chaos. These kids wanted to turn into bears because they were a druid, and then do karate kicks and chops and move the traps around and thwart the bad guys, and I just rolled with it. The father was flustered with how chaotic it was, but it turned out to be a lot of fun. Those kids enjoyed every moment of it. There was a lot of laughs, a lot of good times to be had, and the father there, he rolled with the punches very well, and I was very grateful to have him at the table as well. I thought it went very well. Here's the proud members of the DMU, the founders, myself, Eric, Scott, Bruce, and here's me at my final setup. This is what I kind of had set up throughout the entire weekend. I brought a few of my own items to display just to show that, yes, we run D&D, we are also branching out into other tabletop RPGs. I didn't necessarily run some of these. I was prepared to run Tales of the Valiant, but we stuck to D&D for the weekend. Apart from Bruce running Daggerheart. But I thought having some of these on display would draw in the eye, get people interested. Anyway, future adventurers, do you have what it takes?